Hello, mortals. It's me, your favorite Lord and Savior, Jesus. And I just want you to know that my good friend Midnight's opinion on Goku versus all the Pokemon is, in fact, 100% the gospel truth. I'm Jesus Christ, and I approve this message. Amen.
Many scientists ask asinine, pointless questions like, how did the universe begin? Or, is there a way to cure all diseases? But I am beyond a petty scientist. I am a real intellectual. I am an anime YouTuber. Can every single Pokemon defeat 1 billion lions? This is a decent question to ponder the mathematical intricacies of, say, the lion ladder to reach God is certainly a perplexing and important hypothetical construction. However, on this channel, we go beyond God. We go beyond lions. Can every single Pokemon defeat Goku? Not only will I be answering this question, I will be definitively, objectively answering it, as vouched by Jesus Christ himself. To start off, we should establish what Goku's powers are. You already know who he is, I imagine, so I'll just quickly summarize him. He's an alien martial artist super monkey. He really likes fighting, neglecting his children, and eating. He just like me for real. In terms of superpowers, unlike most modern shonen protagonists, I won't need to give you a 20-minute educational spiel explaining the complexities of how they function, like I would for, say, Gojo Satoru's Infinity ability, or how JoJo stands work. Goku move very fast, hit very hard, shoot the laser, fly, teleport, and when his hair changes colour, he angry and stronger. The very delicate part of this video will be me stating exactly how powerful Goku is. The amount of raw power Goku possesses is kind of a hot topic that people have a few strong opinions on. For normal people that only mention anime in passing, the plethora of "but can he beat Goku" memes are really, really funny. But for no-lifes like me that actually like talking about these things in detail, the Dragon Ball community can be devilish. But for now that won't be an issue, because I think a good idea here is to start with a low ball of Goku's powers, and then if this lowballed Goku gets his ass beat by one of the escaped magical zoo animals, then we'll take higher estimates of Goku up to a reasonable amount. Dragon Ball power scalers, I'm sorry to say I won't be using your Ultra Wank where Goku is Infinity +1 Ultra Gigaversal Maximus. If it comes down to it, I'm going to be as reasonable as a man can be when talking about fictional animals and aliens shooting lasers at each other. Moving at the speed of light and being able to blow up planets were staples of early Dragon Ball Z, as shown by Raditz dodging a light speed attack and Frieza blowing up planets. Goku is like 20 million power tiers above this now, but for a baseline low ball estimate, light speed planet buster works nicely. With that out of the way, it begins. Goku has decided to wipe out every single Pokemon because, unlike a lot of people's misconceptions about his character, Goku is not a hero, he's a damn menace. And like any good shonen protagonist, he starts with the fodder and he moves his way up the food chain. Let's just wipe out a solid 80 to 90% of the Pokedex. All the little rats are dead. Rattata, Sentret, Zigzagoon, etc. All the baby unevolved Pokemon with no especially unique gimmicks are dead. Charmander, Pikachu, all the starter Pokemon, the little birds like Pidgey, Corphish, Phanpy, Wooper, and on and on and on and on. All those babies are dead. The battle begins with all the Pokemon just standing around, staring off into the distance at that weird-looking dude in an orange gi, like, who is this guy? What's his deal? He's just kind of standing there, menacingly. And they all turn to each other like, do you know this guy? Is he your trainer or something? And when they turn back, all their babies are dead. Goku is standing in the middle of the Lightspeed massacre, just covered in blood, munching on a slowpoke tail like, damn, this shit is good. And before we get into the Pokemon that might actually stand a chance, I just want to mention that in Dragon Ball's power scaling system, small differences in power mean quite a lot. Like when Vegeta fought that like crocodile alien dude, Zarbon, right? And Vegeta's power level was 30,000, roughly around there. And Zarbon's was like 20,000. And what Vegeta did was he punched through Zarbon's chest. He just punched straight through. And that is more unrealistic to me than an electric mouse parrying God. I mean, I'm many times stronger than my little brother, and never once, not even when he was a toddler, have I managed to punch through him, even with all my strength. So what I'm trying to say here is that Goku doesn't just defeat the Pokemon that are weaker than him, he absolutely vaporizes them, they're just gone. Except for that one Rattata wearing a focus sash, he can survive, so he can watch the alien monkey ravage his entire ecosystem. With that out of the way, it's time for the legitimate threats to have their shot. Electric types pose some threat. We see in the Broly movie that electricity can at least cause pain to Saiyans. But Goku was dodging lightning before he even grew nutsack hair. If the lightning bolts aren't going to hit him, they're not going to affect him. And they really aren't going to hit him. The other elements really don't fare much better either. Fire is inferior to the energy blast Goku tanks all the time. Rock gets shattered, water parted, steel vaporized, bugs squashed. Going through the type chart, there's only one thing that's going to be able to really deal direct damage to Goku, and that's poison. We know from the Android saga that Goku in the original timeline was supposed to have died from a heart virus, so he does have like a different biology than humans and Pokemon presumably, but if you get poison inside his body, I guess poison and heart virus isn't exactly the same thing. He's a biological being, he's super powerful, but he's still, made of, flesh and blood. If you can get poison in him, you can really mess him up. But the problem is getting the poison in him. It's just, it's slower than lightning, right? And he's already dodging all that. I don't really see the poison type standing a chance here. Goku does like tanking attacks head on because, he's a bit of a silly Billy. He can be a bit slow. But I don't think he's just going to stand there and let the very obvious poison cloud just roll over him like, I eat those. When it comes to fighting, he's not an idiot and he's way too fast to be tapped by some poison cloud or acid or whatever. So maybe we can just brute force him. Salamence, Dragonite, Tinkaton, Slacking, all the fully evolved starter Pokemon from Charizard to whatever in God's name this fucking abomination is. All the Pokemon with just straight raw power. If we take Pokedex entries as gospel, which isn't really the wisest choice, there are a lot, and I mean a lot of inaccuracies and weirdness when it comes to Pokedex entries, and I really could spend all day going over them. Instead, I'm just going to take them as gospel because, to be fair to the Pokemon, all of their children just got slaughtered and the man hasn't even transformed. So going by the law of the Pokedex entries, there are several non-legendary Pokemon that are stated to be able to destroy mountains, like Tyranitar's Dex entry for example. And if we apply Dragon Ball power scalar logic and just say that this means these Pokemon can blow up mountains with a singular blast, that still isn't enough to even dent Goku. Even with this low ball Goku, he is capable of dishing out planet-shattering punches and tanking planet-shattering impacts directly to the face. Before the legendary Pokemon enter the fray, the remaining non-legends are quickly going to figure out raw power does not work. They'll need to get tricky. Tyranitar has indestructible skin, so Goku cannot vaporize him, Unfortunately for Tyranitar, he has been punched outside of the solar system because he is not immune to the effects of kinetic energy. I hope he can breathe in space. Ghost types. Now this is interesting. Goku would attempt to punch the ghost types, only for his fists to phase through their formless bodies. Seeing this, Goku would take a moment and think to himself, okay, alright, I see what's happening here. What if I punch even harder? After about 3 hours of Goku launching non-stop physical attacks at the ghost types, well, at this point they're just kind of living their lives, pretending not to notice the man assaulting them. So eventually, Goku is forced to pull out a different ability than punch very hard. Energy blasts are also probably ineffective against ghosts. I mean, I did compare them to fire earlier, but I think it's fairer to say that a key energy blast would be like Aura Sphere, where it's a fighting type move, because in Dragon Ball, key energy isn't like magic or anything. It's like fighting like raw fighting power. It's very metal. So fighting type doesn't affect ghosts. Fighting and normal type moves do not affect ghosts. So I don't think any of his regular attacks are going to work. So Goku eventually is forced to use some of the wacky abilities he always forgets he has unless he's in an oddly specific situation exactly like this one. Solar Flare doesn't do anything, reading their minds doesn't do anything, except they're ghosts, so maybe he sees their past lives and gets sad. Telekinesis, that works. Psychic type moves are neutrally effective against ghost types, so they're not super effective, but they do actually, hit them. The problem is that whilst telekinesis does exist in Dragon Ball, Goku doesn't have a very strong version of it. Like, Frieza was like chucking mountains and stuff with his mind. Goku, if I recall correctly, struggled to lift a single cup, but what Goku needs to do here is just spam it 1 billion times per second, because he can still move at the speed of light even with this low ball. So he just needs to spam 1 billion short telekinetic bursts at every single ghost in the nearby vicinity. So he kills all the ghosts. Well, they're already dead, but I mean... How about Gardevoir? Gardevoir can create black holes, and black holes are wacky little things. Any black hole of a size significant enough to affect the battle is probably going to destroy the entire world. So maybe after all the heavy hitters and babies and ghosts are slain, Gardevoir is just fuck it, time for girl boss mode, and decides to suicide bomb the entire planet. Goku, as per our low ball calculations, is a light speed fighter, and not even light is capable of escaping the event horizon of a black hole. So is Goku dead? No! Dragon Ball does not follow the laws of physics at all, so what Goku does, he says, screw special relativity. He transforms into a Super Saiyan, and that increases his power level 50 times over, and in Dragon Ball that also means increases his level of speed 50 times over. So now Einstein is rolling in his grave.
Oh fuck, I can't believe you've done this.
And Goku is escaping the event horizon of a black hole at 50 times the speed of light. Very sorry, Gardevoir, you just killed everyone and everything for no reason. But all of the Pokemon being dead at this point isn't fun, so we'll just say Goku managed to defeat Gardevoir before she went girl boss mode. Psychic types like Gardevoir have a lot more to them than just raw power, however. Trick Room is a psychic move which makes slower Pokemon able to hit faster Pokemon first. So essentially, since every Pokemon is slower than this Lightspeed Goku, with Trick Room, they are now able to hit him before he hits them. So this, synergized with elements that could have an effect on Goku, like electricity and poison, would be able to do some serious work on him. But herein lies the important intricacy of this battle that many people won't think of immediately. This isn't a trainer battle, these are wild Pokemon. Synergizing attacks together means you need to coordinate. Wild Pokemon just spam moves because they don't know any better. I don't care how high Alakazam's IQ is, you try convincing a snake that it needs to use a non-physical, poison-type attack at a specific time at the guy that just nuked 90% of the magical creature population. Also, Goku is smart. I know. Dragon Ball Super portrayed him as an absolute buffoon, but he's really not stupid. He can solve problems, especially problems in combat. When he sees that everyone's speed has been reversed in this weird psychic room, he'd develop a strategy. He could lower his own power level at just the right time so he'd get the priority advantage. He could instant transmission out of the room. He could use an omnidirectional energy wave to space out all the fellas currently rushing him. And sure, some psychic Pokemon are really intelligent and could form counter strategies, but they're not trainers. They'll have trouble actually coordinating with all the other wild, ravenous animals bloodlusted by the death of all their babies in time to stop the guy moving at the speed of light from vaporizing everyone. So at this point, our Focus Sash Rattata friend just witnessed an entire ecosystem get completely wiped out. So as it lays dying on the floor, it begins to pray. And thus do the gods appear. Now I'm going to treat mythical Pokemon and legendary Pokemon as essentially the same thing in this section, despite mythicals and legendaries technically being two different categories of Pokemon, because the difference between them is extraordinarily stupid. Well, you see, Ash, mythical Pokemon are Pokemon which can only be obtained from official Nintendo events. They cannot be obtained in the base game. What does that mean, Professor? What are you saying? Life is a video game, little boy. Wake up, wake up, wake up! So the legendary Pokemon have entered the fray, and Goku gets a little excited. So first things first, he takes out the weaker ones, which don't really pose as much of a threat. Kanto Bird Trio, the Johto Dogs, the Laddie Twins, the little fairy fellas like Mew and Manaphy. These Pokemon are powerful. For example, every time Entei barks, a volcano erupts. They have great power over nature, and of course, stat-wise, they're far superior to the majority of Pokemon. Their power deserves a lot of respect, but they just aren't in Goku's weight class, unfortunately. Many uber-legendary Pokemon, on the other hand, have world-spanning power. Take Groudon, who can raise the very earth to morph the world into a dry hell, or Kyogre, who can raise the sea levels in order to drown all the land in the world. Upon hearing that, the Dragon Ball power scalers are going to be like, world? Earth? This means these guys are planet level, thus match this lowballed Goku. But I think it's time to put my foot down and tell the DB power scalers something they've been needing to hear for a very long time. Not every series works on Dragon Ball's logic. Just because a being has world-spanning power over nature does not mean every single one of their right hooks can vaporize the earth entire. Sauron can't punch people through mountains. Greek mythological characters don't fight at the speed of light like anime characters, and Groudon and Kyogre aren't Death Stars. So most Uber legends that show this world-spanning power perhaps do a little better than the normie Pokemon, but are also wiped out and eaten because Goku is fucked in the head. Mew and Mewtwo get their heads ripped off, which is actually really interesting because in the Dragon Ball community this is also referred to as murder. Ho-Oh and Lugia get cooked. Gen 3 Ubers are already dead. Reshiram and Zekrom are in a similar boat to Groudon and Kyogre, so maybe they put up a little bit of a fight, but ultimately get curb stomped. And Goku's getting hungry at this point, so he just decides to nuke the rest. It's a quick way to cook up some deity meatsies and be on his way to, I don't know, wipe out all the Digimon. But to his surprise, a couple Pokemon survive. Allow me to introduce to you Mega Rayquaza. This highly overpowered, team-sweeping monstrosity did destroy an asteroid that was threatening to destroy the world, so it could potentially match our low-ball Goku. The problem becomes combat speed. The speed of light is ludicrously fast, like move across the entire planet 7 times in a single second fast. So even if we pulled out some funky, obscure feats from somewhere and said Rayquaza is also capable of moving that fast in close quarters combat, we still wouldn't need to increase our power level estimation of Goku, because when shit goes awry, he can always just... which is a 50 times multiplier to his base power. And if that's not enough, he can double that, then quadruple that, and then go God mode, and then Super God mode, mayhaps even Super Ultra Gig God Pussy Slayer 5000, and so on and so on and so on and so on.
I've started to get this feeling that I'm totally fucked.
So Mega Rayquaza, with a bit of benefit to the doubt, is managing to match a low-balled base form Goku. All the dying Pokemon on the surface who got Goku'd rejoice in triumph, and then the sky starts turning gold, and Rayquaza explodes, which for the little dying Rattata, watching its very gods being vaporized, must be extremely traumatizing. So how about more raw power? Ultra Necrozma has a very powerful feat indeed. Ultra Necrozma is touted to have lit up all of Ultra Space with its light, and the calculations for this feat have been mathematically deduced by some fellas as being similar in energy output to a supernova, which is vastly more potent than lowballed Goku's planet-busting energy output. But Necrozma's calculation should not be taken as fact even slightly, because Pokemon is notoriously unaware of how light works. For example, did you know it's canonical fact, if we take light-based calculations literally, that the Pokemon Lantern is a universe buster due to the calculation of its Pokédex entry, which states that when Lantern emits light from the bottom of the ocean, the light is visible on the ocean's surface. If we take the Necrozma calculation at face value, then it's only fair we take the Lantern one too, otherwise we're biased. And if anyone here wants to argue that this random species of fish could wipe out every star in the universe with a single shot just so they can win the Necrozma versus Goku debate, needs to touch grass more so than even a Minecraft YouTuber. So seeing the very gods of his world get obliterated, Rattata starts praying even harder. And thus the gods of the very universe appear. Dialga, the controller of time, Palkia, the controller of space, Giratina, the lord of antimatter, and Arceus, God, just straight up Big G, creator of all things. And for the non-Pokemon fans, yes, in the games, you as an 11-year-old child can capture God and use it in government-sponsored cockfights. Now we've reached the final four, the gods of the very universe. You must be thinking that finally, Goku is about to get his comeuppance. So let's analyse these freakazoids and see how boned Goku is. In both the games and anime, these Sinnoh gods have vast power over the universe entire. Their manipulations of the cosmos on occasion have threatened to rip apart the cosmos completely. But, this is a big old dump truck, big ass but, in direct combat, they aren't necessarily more powerful than other legendary Pokemon. In the Hooper movie, we see the Sinnoh gods fighting pretty evenly with all the other legendary Pokemon Hooper summons, and in the games, even uber legendaries can be defeated in battle by regular ass Pokemon. If we go by Dragon Ball power scalar logic, we could argue that every single Pokemon must also then be a universe buster, but that's really dumb. Gen 4 God Pokemon may have immense power over the cosmos itself compared to Goku, but in terms of physical strength, combat speed, and raw attack power, Goku would slap the shit out of him. In Pokemon Legends Arceus, a 15-year-old kid is canonically fast enough to dodge the attacks of Origin Form Dialga and Palkia for several minutes, not to mention in both the anime and games, regular-ass Pokemon can damage them. Don't get me wrong, these guys are immensely powerful. In terms of control over the universe, I'd go as far as to say they are perhaps beyond even a non-lowballed Goku at his strongest. They are gods of creation that form the very fundamental concepts of space and time itself. They build galaxies and worlds and voids, but when it comes to direct combat, it's a different story. They have physical bodies that can be damaged by any Pokemon, and their attacks can be withstood. If they were canonically able to one-shot every single Pokemon and were completely indestructible, then fans would be rightly very off-put by that. And people might retort my points by saying, what if a Sinnoh God Pokemon compressed all of time or space into an attack and launched it at our favourite space monkey martial artist? It still wouldn't matter. If Dialga compresses all of time into an attack, what the fuck does that even mean? But if we take something more tangible like all of space and Palkia compresses the entire universe into a big bang attack and launches it at Goku, it would... Well, first of all, it'd kill every other Pokemon, so nice team killing Palkia. And secondly, it could kill Goku if Palkia was able to hit him with it, which he probably wouldn't. When all of space is being compressed, he can just instant transmission his way out of it, if he hasn't already one-punched Palkia as he's performing the act, but that's not Goku's style. Or he could just do what Boo did and scream his way into another dimension, and then when Palkia launches the Big Bang attack, Goku could just do this. Because remember, both in the games and in the anime, the God Pokemon do not have the combat speed of Goku, who could dodge lightning bolts as a child. The God Pokemon are more powerful than Goku, I know that. Pokemon fans withhold the pitchforks, I know, I understand that. But they are still just animals of flesh and blood. They're not invulnerable, regular Pokemon can harm them, and they're not able to fight at light speed like the goddamn Flash. And honestly, that's kind of their charm. They're literal, regular fucking zoo animals that get into primal territory disputes, except when they fight, the universe dies. So that's it then? Are the Pokemon all slain? Not quite. With everything it holds dear slaughtered, the very gods it prayed and relied on, destroyed before his eyes. The injured Rattata, 1 HP remaining due to that lucky little focus sash, he rises. Goku sits atop a pile of god corpses, devouring the flesh from their very bones. The rat's power level is so tiny the alien god doesn't even register its presence. The little rodent stands determined, and with fire in its eyes, it performs the move Endeavor, bringing Goku onto the same brink of death in which the Rattata resides. And then it launches a quick attack, the move that almost always goes first. Almost. At the speed of light itself, Goku dodges and is about to finish off his opponent when a new figure, encompassed by the dust and mist of glorious battle, emerges from the shadows. There exists one power, one ability in the Pokemon universe which defeats Goku because it counters everything that makes Goku Goku. The ability is called Unaware. Its definition straight from the games is ignores any stat changes in ability by the foe. What this means is that if a Pokemon raises its attack stat or speed stat or defense or anything, the unaware Pokemon will not be affected by these changes. So if a foe maxes out its attack stat to the absolute limit and hits the unaware Pokemon, it will only do the base amount of damage it would have done if it did not boost its attack power. Goku is buffed by Ki energy. His entire power set is predicated on the fact that he uses Ki energy to boost his stats. They are all boosted into cosmic heights. But the unaware Pokemon completely and utterly negates these enhancements because it is too stupid to comprehend them. So, you may be asking yourselves, what Pokemon has its signature ability as unaware? And I promise you, I swear unto Jesus that I am not making this up. The Pokemon capable of not only defeating Goku, but absolutely negating everything that he is, just destroying him, is none other than...
Who's that Pokemon?
Bidoof! Yes! Bidoof the god! Bidoof the god slayer! Bidoof the chosen one! He stands above all others, where psychics and dragons and gods failed. Bidoof prevailed throughout heaven and earth. He alone is the honoured one. Now, unaware originally was the sole signature move of Bidoof and its evolution B-barrel, but in later generations, Pokemon that were not our god did get the ability to. But for Bidoof, it's literally his signature. It's what defines him. He's the one we care about here. The others are just copycats. They're just trying to steal his style. Bidoof is the original God Slayer. It's his signature ability, because the other Pokemon, they can get a bunch of different abilities, and Unaware is just one of the possibilities they have. But for Bidoof, it is his signature. It defines him. It is who he is. Bidoof is the honoured one. So that's that. Goku beats nearly every Pokemon, but then gets obliterated by a Rodent because the Rodent is too stupid to comprehend how outmatched it is. I'm just so happy with this result. I remember I was doing the research for this video and I was like, okay, what Pokemon here is actually going to stand a chance? I was looking for all like ghost types, like Gardevoir, Black Hole, the Gods, all this power scale and nonsense. And then I got to Bidoof and I was like looking through the Pokedex. I was like, I think I was looking at Bidoof because it's just a funny meme thing. And I was like, maybe I can like twist it to like, so Bidoof would win. I wasn't really believing I could. And I just like looking for its moves and I clicked on its ability. And then I read it and I was like, no fucking way this is real. No way this is real. And it was. And I'm so happy. Just Bidoof, my beloved. The God Slayer. All my heart goes out to Bidoof. But I hear you say, there are other Pokemon that would be able to defeat Goku with a specific strategy or ability or something. You could pull some bit of esoteric lore or something I overlooked, and you could make arguments for why this Pokemon or that Pokemon could defeat Goku. And I guess that's my challenge for you to today, is to come up with a party of 6 Pokemon, right? So you're only allowed 6. What team would you put together to defeat Goku, and what strategy would they use? And you're not allowed to use Bidoof. Bidoof's mine. I've caught all the Bidoofs in the world. They belong to me and me alone. And so leave your answer in the comments below and I shall pin my favourites. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed learning of these cosmic truths. If you subscribe, there'll be more cosmic truths in the future. They'll be planted directly into your YouTube feed. So like, subscribe, pray to Bidoof. Thanks for watching.